So, what if the key to a stable future isn't about trying to fix huge national systems, but about building your own local alternatives instead? Today, we're going to dig into a really powerful idea for creating stability in what feels like an unstable world. And it all comes down to one word: optionality. Let's get right into it. You ever feel that? That sense of friction or just dysfunction at the national level that kind of leaves you wondering, okay, where do I turn? Well, you are definitely not alone. That exact feeling is what's sparking a global search for alternatives. And this whole search, it has a name: exit optionality. But look, don't let that name fool you. This isn't really about just packing up and leaving. It's about building choices for yourself. It's about creating an insurance policy for your life. It means you're proactively setting up alternatives for where you live, for how you handle your money, and for the community you count on.
And this isn't just some theory, right? All over the world, people are already doing this. They're building these options, and it's creating this fascinating patchwork of alternative systems, where each one offers a totally different kind of stability.
Take Thailand, for example. It's become a major hub for what you might call social optionality. It's got this unique mix of safety, affordability, and a really strong community culture. And that's attracting people who want to build smaller communities that are more aligned with their own values.
Then you've got Singapore, which offers something completely different: systemic optionality. Think of it almost like society as a service. It's incredibly safe, super organized, and just competent. It's a predictable, reliable system for anyone who really values order and function.
And for financial optionality, a lot of people are looking at Dubai. With zero income tax, strong property rights, and its position as a global banking hub, it offers a really powerful way to kind of insulate your financial life from the policies of any one single country.
Okay, so that's the global view. But how does this idea play out somewhere like the United States? Well, the source material for this gives us a fascinating case study to look at: the state of California. So what does this instability actually feel like on the ground? What are the specific pressures that are pushing people to start looking for these alternatives in the first place?
Well, the source points to a few key things. There's a growing feeling of tiered law enforcement, with uneven responses. There are widening gaps in local governance as larger institutions feel more distant. And there's this really interesting shift where, for a lot of people, identity is becoming less about shared nationality and more about who you align with online. But, when you strip away all that complexity, you find a really basic human trend. At the end of the day, people are just looking for systems they can actually count on. Systems that deliver safety for their families, financial stability, and just a sense of predictability in their lives. It's that simple.
And to see how all these big, abstract trends play out in the real world, the source material zooms way in on a single community that's standing at a crossroads: Nevada County, California.
Now, Nevada County is a so-called purple community, which means it's a fascinating mix of political leanings. And right now, it's feeling a lot of friction between its longtime rural residents and a new wave of people moving in from urban areas. And the key here isn't about who's right or who's wrong. It's about the very real challenge of how you bridge these growing divides.
And according to the source, this community is at a really critical turning point. It's facing a choice between a few potential paths, and whichever one it takes is going to define its future. And believe me, this is way more than just a political debate. It's about the very soul of the county. And the two main paths couldn't be more different. On one side, you've got national capture. That's where the county just becomes another pawn in the national culture war. But on the other side, there's local non-alignment. A very conscious choice to focus inward on building a competent, resilient community, totally free from all those national proxy battles.
So this path of non-alignment, what does that actually look like in practice? It's more than just a nice-sounding idea. It's a concrete, actionable strategy.
And here's the crucial shift in mindset. It's not about winning flame wars online. It's about using modern tools to actually achieve effective local governance, to get things done in the real world. It's about putting tangible results way ahead of abstract online debates.
So the focus shifts to things that actually matter to everyone, things that transcend political divides. We're talking about wildfire prevention, supporting local businesses, making sure schools are functional, and having law enforcement that's accountable. These aren't partisan issues, right? They're the basic building blocks of any thriving community.
The whole strategy really boils down to 4 key steps. First, build everything around concrete results, not divisive national symbols. Second, create a broad civic platform based on shared community norms. Third, treat politics like a tool to get things done, not as your entire identity. And finally, operate with speed and transparency to build trust through sheer competence.
So what's the big takeaway here? How does this deep dive into one county in California connect all the way back to that global search for optionality we talked about at the start?
It all comes down to this really powerful dual strategy. On one hand, you've got fortification at home. That means investing your time and your energy into making your local community as strong and resilient as possible. And on the other hand, you've got optionality abroad, building out that financial and geographic insurance policy just in case.
And this quote from the source material just says it all perfectly. This is not a rejection of home. It's an insurance policy paired with commitment. It's about pouring your heart into improving your community while at the same time pragmatically preparing for huge forces that are just beyond your control. And that leaves us with one last big question for you to think about. What about the biggest challenges in your own community? How many of them could actually be solved or at least made better by shifting the focus away from national debates and toward competent, non-aligned local action? It's a powerful idea, and, it's one that might just change everything.